What's going on, everybody? K to the 2 here with week 7 of the NPL. This week we are going up against our number 1 rival in the league, Zero CLX and the Tampa Bay Rayquazas. Flashback to last season, first game that he plays in the NPL. Goes up against us, steals a victory from us, ends our undefeated season, and from that point on, I knew that he and I would be the biggest rivals in this league. Now, let's go ahead and get right into the matchup because we have a lot to talk about, because he does have quite the threatening team, and he does have probably the most balanced team in this whole league. So let's get right into the game plan. So getting right into the game plan, number 1, for sure, I need to get rocks up and keep them on the field. Why do I need to do this? Well, he does have a Victini and he has a Weavile, both of which do considerable amount of work to my team. Especially the Victini, because you know what happens when offensive fire types go up against my team, or basically any team, because they're really good in this format. I need to keep rocks up, and in order to do that, I am throwing rocks on. What am I throwing my rocks on this week? I am throwing them on my Infernape. This way, I can keep offensive pressure on him in order to get my rocks up. I have just the amount of attacking prowess in order to force switches to get my rocks up for free. Not only that, his only form of hazard removal is Tentacruel, so I threw Earthquake on Infernape. Now, in doing this, it keeps Tentacruel in check. It's not as easy of a switch in order to get his rocks off the field right away. So that's why I'm throwing rocks on Infernape and Earthquake as well. Next up, I have to pressure Clefable. Clefable is, I'd say it's a really big threat to my team, just because it does have the Unaware, which can stop Belly Jet Azu or any sort of setup that I want to do. As well as it can set up on its own. It can set up Calm Minds with the combination of Moonblast and the Flamethrower. It has the possibility to basically run through my entire team. So I need to make sure to keep it in check, and in order to do that, all I really need is Mega Scizor, because I 2-hit KO it. Even with a defensive Mega Scizor, I 2-hit KO Clefable after rocks, and that is basically just Bullet Punch, just 2-hit KOs, and lastly, I really want to keep up momentum. If I keep getting free switches into my threats, it's going to keep pressure on his team. It's going to force him to not be able to switch out into Victini and Weavile, or they're going to have to take damage with every switch in. Now, in order to keep up momentum, I am running Rotom, and I am running Choice Scarf Sylveon that has Baton Pass, and I have U-Turn on something else. I don't completely remember off the top of my head. I will look at it when I get into team preview. And one last thing that I want to touch on before we get into the team preview is I do have Gothitelle on my team, and I know that his team is very afraid of Gothitelle, and I am planning on him to over-prepare for Gothitelle, because it does do a considerable amount of work. So for that reason, I am not bringing it, and I'm bringing some other threats instead, just because I know he's going to be over-prepared for it anyway. So there's no point in bringing Gothitelle. So let's go ahead and get right into the match. Alright, so getting right into team preview. I'm going to go ahead and go over my team that I brought. This week I am bringing a NASCAR Rotom W. NASCAR and defensive, kind of a split sort of thing. I have enough investment in order to outspeed Speed Creep, a Tentacruel who's trying to speed creep something else on my team. I don't know. I have 245 speed, I have enough bulk in order to live most of his hits from his team, and I also have enough speed in order to Volt Switch on his team freely and keep Rotom healthy in order to get Will-O-Wisps or just free momentum on his team. I am bringing a Choice Scarf Latios. Choice Scarf is not really relevant, it's just there to trick onto whatever he wants to send in. I am also not running Dragon Stab on it. I'm running Side Shock, Surf, and Hidden Power Fighting. Hidden Power Fighting is for this monster right here, in case it wants to try and Pursuit Trap me, and it won't be able to, and I'll kill with an HP Fighting. As well as HP Fighting does enough damage to Lucario, and Surf deals with Victini and Lander's Therian, which he actually didn't end up bringing. Before the match, I was going to bring a Belly Jet Azumarill, but apparently it can't learn Belly Drum and Encore together because it is, I don't know. If it could learn that, it would be really broken. So, yeah, that would be bad. So instead, I am bringing a Choice Banded Azumarill. This way I can do what I feel like will do a massive amount of work to his team, just plowing through his checks, which don't really have reliable recovery, except for Clefable. But Clefable's not going to want to take a couple of play roughs, Choice Banded play roughs. Next up, I'm bringing my Lead Infernape with Focus Sash, which, again, I don't know why I brought Lead Infernape and didn't lead with it. That's probably really stupid of me, but it doesn't matter. I'm bringing, as I said, Stealth Rocks, Earthquake, Flamethrower, and Taunt. Taunt is there to stop the Ferrothorn, or to stop the Clefable from getting any sort of wishes up. And then I'm bringing a Choice Scarf Victini. Choice Scarf outspeeds Weavile if it is Jolly with just enough speed to outspeed Latios. So it outspeeds base 110s barely. Which, if Weavile was adamant, I would definitely outspeed it. I outspeed his Lucario, I outspeed his everything on his team, bar Choice Scarf Victini and Jolly Weavile. Lastly, I am bringing a Mega Scizor. There it is. That's the thing that I brought U-Turn on. This one is Roost 3 attacks with Bullet Punch, U-Turn, and Superpower. Superpower is there to hit the Lucario and the Ferrothorn. That way, if I get enough damage on the Ferrothorn, I can take it out, remove it, and then my team just has an all-around easier time, especially Sylveon, since he won't really have a switch into Choice Scarf Hyper Voice. So let's go ahead and get right into the match. I know that Rotom has an incredible matchup against his entire team. He has nothing that can OHKO it, bar Victini with Energy Ball, and it would have to be modest choice specs. So let's go ahead and get right into the match. He's going to go ahead and lead off with Victini. Not the greatest matchup for him, so he's going to go straight out into Clefable as I Volt Switch out. Now right here, I'm going to go ahead, taunt this Clefable as he makes the correct play and goes for the Moonblast. That does a hefty amount of damage, and he's actually going to go ahead and switch out into his Tentacruel here as I set up my rocks in his face. Now right here, I go for the Earthquake as he stays in and goes for the Confuse Ray. Now right here, he could have killed my Infernape. However, he was probably predicting like the Latios to come in, since it does deal with Tentacruel pretty well, and having it confused would not be a good time for me. But instead, I'm actually going to go ahead and get off the Earthquake on this Tentacruel, making it that much easier to deal with. Right here, I'm going to go ahead and switch out. I don't want to deal with a confused Infernape, as he's just going to take the time to Rapid Spin. And again, I'm going to go ahead and get my chance to Volt Switch on him all day, I'm going to go ahead and go right back out into Infernape. I didn't want him setting up any rocks or spikes or a Leech Seed in my face. That way he could like start wearing me down as I set up my rocks. So I went for the taunt Probably not the greatest play. I should have gone straight for my rocks, predicting Victini to come in before rocks. And then, so now his Victini is taunted. It can't really do anything to my Latios, even if it was like a Choice Scarf one. Which we see right here that it definitely isn't. That does almost 0 damage. So I'm suspecting him to be more of a bulky, possibly mixed Victini. We'll have to see. But he is going to switch out into Ferrothorn as I click Trick, and now this Ferrothorn is relatively out of the game because I have switch-ins for basically all of its moves now, especially after tricking into Choice Scarf. Its Gyro Ball is going to do even less damage. Not really a whole lot less, but it's going to do less damage. Trick, I acquire his Shed Shell, so that's one thing that he was preparing for Gothitelle. He told me after the match that indeed he had 3 things with Shed Shell on them just so Gothitelle wouldn't be able to completely destroy his team. Which I felt wasn't the greatest idea because he does have the Weavile, which is a free pursuit trap. So he could have thrown like Leftovers or Rocky Helmet on Ferrothorn or Black Sludge on Tentacruel, or especially Leftovers on Clefable. But instead he does have the Shed Shell on all of those. Right here, I am going to make the switch straight into Rotom as he goes ahead and sets up his Stealth Rocks. They are there to stay because I do not have Defog on this team, and I'm going to go ahead and Volt Switch on the Victini. His Ferrothorn really couldn't do much at all. There's no point in it staying in, so it's another free Volt Switch. I'm going to go ahead and go into Azumarill. Now, I felt like this was a great time to fire off a Choice Banded Aqua Jet because, you know, it completely destroys Victini, right? No, it doesn't even do half, and he's able to get off a Willow. So he is max physically defensive in order to take on this Azumarill, which was hands down probably one of the best mons that he could have brought against me. Even though Choice Banded Victini I really don't have any switch-ins to, but this one really puts a stop to Azumarill, which is a huge threat to his team, and he knows it. So, another Aqua Jet would probably kill, so he's going to go ahead and switch out. He told me after the match that he forgot to put Leftovers on Victini, and he is not in a good position because if I can get up my rocks, since it's sitting at 22%, it's basically out of the game. So that's going to be my plan, is to try and get up rocks as soon as possible in order to remove Victini from the game entirely. Now, right here, we make a double into Clefable and Latios. It's not a favorable position, and I don't know if he has Flamethrower or not, so I don't want to switch directly into Mega Scizor. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and go for the Psyshock for damage, go ahead and calc, see what kind of Clefable this is, as he sets up a Wish in the air. Now, fearing that he would try and pass that into Victini, my best play was going for Surf. It does practically the same amount that Psyshock just did, and Clefable is able to just go ahead and take me out with the Moonblast, which was his best play, because he knew that I would try and stop the Victini from receiving the Wish, because that would possibly ruin my plans of winning the game. So right here, he's going to go ahead and get his own Wish, but that's going to be a free switch in and Mega Evolve for my Mega Scizor, as I'm just going to go straight for the Bullet Punch. Afraid that he might be scouting for the superpower, I'm just going to go ahead and go for Roost and U-turn out, as he goes ahead and misses Leech Seed, which kind of was big, especially because he said that he wouldn't have made the switch if he saw that Leech Seed hit. He made the switch thinking that he had seeded me. Either way, I probably would have just U-turned on it, and Tentacruel wouldn't be that great of a mon to go into at that point. Right here, I can go ahead, go back into Rotom, and just fire off another free Volt Switch. So every time Rotom has come in, I've only gone for Volt Switch. I've only needed it on my team to Volt Switch this entire match so far. And he goes straight out into his Ferrothorn again. This is my opportunity to go ahead and get up rocks. So I'm going to go into Infernape. I know Gyro Ball might be able to kill, but that's not what he goes for. Instead, he goes for the Leech Seed. I can kill this thing with a Flamethrower, so that's my best play in case he wants to like double seed, expecting me to switch out. So I'm just going to go ahead and go for damage. And right here, again, I still don't know if he has Flamethrower or not, so I don't want to switch directly into Mega Scizor. His best play, again, is going for the Protect and just getting my seeds, or getting his Leech Seed damage to kill me off. But that's fine because I have enough damage on Tentacruel where basically anything can kill it, except for my Azumarill, but I have no reason to bring it in now that it's burned. And really, Infernape has done its job. I do have Superpower still to deal with Ferrothorn, so if I can do that, that'll put me in possibly the best position that I can be going into the late game with Choice Scarf Sylveon. So he's gonna go ahead, make that play for the Protect. My best play was taunting, making sure he doesn't get up a Wish, so like he could heal back up on my Mega Scizor with the Protect. So taunt was my best play as he just protects. That's gonna allow me to bring in Mega Scizor, force him out into his Ferrothorn, because that's really his only switch into this, because Victini dies to rocks and Tentacruel will die to, I think it'll die to 2 bullet punches, I'm not quite sure, but Ferrothorn is at the range of health where Superpower will for sure take this out. So I'm going to go ahead and take this opportunity to just go ahead and wreck this Ferrothorn as he decides to leave it in. He probably didn't expect me to have Superpower, which is why he left it in. And right here, since I am -1 attack, I can't really do anything to a Tentacruel. I don't want him predicting my switch into Sylveon, so I'm going to go ahead and go for the slow U-turn. Good thing I didn't get burned from that Scald. I was expecting him to Rapid Spin right there, but it wouldn't have mattered just because Rotom and Sylveon beat Victini even if he didn't have rocks. So that's why I decided to go for the U-turn. Bringing this Tentacruel down to 9%, and here we go. I'm gonna go ahead and put this on slow just so we can enjoy a little bit of Stacy's mom. Ah, yeah. Now, Sylveon did end up dying at the very end. It just missed out on the Lucario kill right there. I didn't completely agree with the order in which he started switching things around. First of all, he shouldn't have gone into Clefable because it wouldn't have really done anything. Not to mention, he sacked off Victini when he still had possibly a chance to win with Lucario, as well as he still outsped with his Weavile, which tells me he was jolly, and knocked me off, which wasn't really that big of a deal. At the very end there, you saw that I went into Mega Scizor. That was to preserve the 3-0 victory, because differential does sort of matter. I had already won the game at that point, and that's when I decided it was a good idea to go for differential. If I went into Rotom or if I went into Azumarill, they both would have died. But instead, I could go into Mega Scizor, click Bullet Punch, and if he goes for the extreme speed, he'll knock himself out, and I definitely will not die from that range. So, I'm going to come out with a clean 3-0 victory against our rival. Zero, that was a fantastic match, and every time that we touch this game and go against each other, it always ends up being a great match. Please check out Zero. He's one of my best friends, and honestly, he deserves all the support he can get for his Tampa Bay Rayquazas. He's doing an amazing job, and I owe it all to him for, I don't know, for a good match, I guess. Next week, we are going up against Mew Draco and the Green Bay Palkias. And now, first of all, I hate the Packers. Second of all, he is the Pokemon version of the Packers. So, what are we going to do? We're going to 6-0 him. Yep, I just called it right here, right now. We are going into next week, 6-0ing him, and moving on to week 9. So, thank you guys so much for watching. Go ahead and leave a like if you enjoyed. Go ahead and leave a comment for whatever reason. I don't care. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys next time.